Hey guys, what is up? Zargi here from Zargi Studios and the Game Maker University. Today I got a quite exciting tutorial for you. I don't got good grammar right now, but essentially this is what we will be making. If it will start, and that happened again, not sure why. Okay, let's drag the window over here. Now, as we can see, we have a little ball on a background with a red square. Not extremely exciting in any real fashion, but if we move off the screen, ooh! Now, this effect is essentially a way to control the use of to control your views within the game, so that the view only switches to another segment, is what I call them, when a object moves outside of the certain segment, and it divides the room up into segments of any size you want. So this offers a very nice way to change the view of what you want to have in your game. It could be used for a dungeon crawler where you have a number of rooms that are essentially just the same size, or something like a platformer even. Now, I should note that this is something that came out of me competing or attempting to compete in the Game Maker community game jam that happened a little while ago. I didn't finish my game, sorry to say, but I did learn quite a few things about programming and such, and this is one of the techniques that came out of that. So I just wanted to share this with you now. So let's get started. Okay, so I have a number of materials prepared for this, so we don't have to create all the player and sprites and background and stuff. The first thing we're going to load in is the sprites and background. Now, this is in Game Maker Studio, and Game Maker Studio introduced, if you didn't know, this new resource management system, or rather the project system, which stores each object, each sprite, each resource essentially in these different files that you can find, in fact, in your project folder. If you click the help and then go down to open project in Explorer, you can see that we have our project here as a folder that has been created. Now, there are a few ways you could do this. You could go here and make sure it's just sprites with a lowercase, and then drop it in here, but so that it will be added to the project, I think. But what is cool is you can just take all of those, or rather take those two things, and then dump them right in there, and that adds the sprites we need. So we have a player, which is just ball, and we have the wall. Now, we're not going to use the wall in this tutorial at all, really, but it's for the engine that I created, and it needs something solid, so we might as well just have it there, have a sprite for its mask. Now, let's add the background. We have one background, the test background, which is a 640 by 640, just a grid with squares, so we can see the difference between the rooms we are in, or the segments, rather. Now we must go to, now let's add the player movement script. This is script, let's drag it over here, essentially just handles all movement of the player. Now, it's probably a bit different than the tutorial I did a while ago for just a four-way player movement. I've learned quite a bit since then, so I might do a updated tutorial on that sometime soon. But this script, I'm going to let y'all have it in the video materials folder that I will be releasing. It's just pretty simple, honestly. It does require a bit of input from the object using, but that's not too much trouble. In fact, I'll go through it for a second here. So let's import our objects. Now, we have three objects. We have the solid object, which is essentially a parent for all solid things in my current engine. And this, I should note, is only a sliver of the current engine, if that's what you want to call it. It's not really a full engine yet, but solid is a parent for all solid objects that the player can collide with, and wall is simply just a 16 pixel by 16 pixel wall that is should be parented to solid. But we won't be using that in this tutorial. Now, looking at the player object real quickly, close that down. In the create event, we see we have speed, run speed. You can run by pressing shift with this player. Image speed 0, and have the image speed go up when you run. But the sprite here doesn't have separate subimages. It's just a ball. So if we go to the step event, there we go. You see we just move using the player movement script, and depth minus Y is a little trick you should know if you're making any kind of top-down game or four-thirds game, like, for instance, Zelda: A Link to the Past is in the four-thirds view. This will set the depth so that you will go sufficiently behind and in front of any other objects that you have, and you need to put that in all objects. That's just a little tip if you're making a game like that. Now that we have reviewed all of the objects, let's go ahead and create our room real quickly here. Don't know why it's that small. Settings. Okay, this will be level 1 room, RM. And the width and height, we can just set it to 640 by 640. That'll be fine. The width and height of the room doesn't matter if you're just doing this test here, because the view and background will keep going even though the room is only 4 squares wide and high. Now go to the Backgrounds tab, scroll down if you need to, and select the test background. This will, as you see, divide the room up into squares that are 320 by 320. And I will show you how to change that later, but for now, that's the default size. Now, the very important thing to do is go to the Views tab, click Enable Use of Views, click Visible when room starts, and we have selected View 0. Now, go down to here to the View in Room, and make sure you set it to what you want to have your view height and width be. I'm going to set mine to 320 by 320. Now, what we're going to do here, though, is the port on screen. We're going to leave the width as it is and set the height to 640. Now, what this will do is it will take the view in the room, this 320 by 320 pixels, and it will basically scale it up to a window that is 640 by 640. So it will display the game at double the size, so it's easier for us to see. Just a little tip here. Now, if you mess around with this too much, like if you give it a different aspect ratio, it will, of course, make your game look squished. So making sure that your game doesn't look squished is important, of course. Now we're pretty much ready, actually, to start programming our camera object. The camera object will control the view in such a way that, yeah, it'll control the view, essentially. So we're going to call this camera division object. And this will not have any sprite. It will not be persistent. It will be visible. All of that, just leave it as it is. Okay, now let me get my example up here for me. Okay, so add the event, create event. And actually, just one moment. Okay, back. Okay, so go to the Control tab and add an execute code function, or action rather. And now we are going to type target equals player object, or the name of whatever player you have in your game. Now this is important because this is going to tell us what object we need to target. So let's just add a couple more variables here. Speed equals 10 and min speed equals 6, and these will become clear why it will become clear why these are important later. Now, the first real code to drive our camera here, if object exists, object exists, target, can't type, target, and add some braces here. So we're saying if the object exists, if the target object exists, which we've set to player object, we're going to say target x equals floor times 320, and in the parentheses for floor go target dot x divided by 320. Now, I should note here that this is hard coding the 320 number into our game. So what would be better is we take view view and bracket 0, or view current would be better, of course. And we need to put an underline there. And go ahead and copy that and put it right there. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to set the variable target x, and in fact, we should go up here and set both target x and target y to 0, just in case, just to avoid it not setting it up in the create event and then failing later on. And go ahead and copy this, actually. And then change the second one to target y equals floor target dot y view h view h view. There we go. Now what this is going to do is it's going to take the player, the x of the player, and then it's going to take basically take the position and then divide it by 320 currently. And then it's going to choose and then it's going to round it down. So, and then it's going to, I'm not explaining this well, am I? Then it's going to multiply it back by 320. So that means that we will have an x of the segment that the player is in. If that makes any sense. It might become clear later on, but let's go ahead and add a step event. Right there. Execute code. And let me get my example up. There we go. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is go back up to the create event, open the execute code from there, and then grab this, or rather, grab this segment of code, this object exists target. If object exists, copy it, and paste it into the step event, and this will become clear later on. Now we're going to want to expand this a bit. So let's add the following. If distance to point target x target y is larger than SPD, then speed, then and also after this let's add else x equals target x and y equals target y. So we're saying here, if the distance to the point of target x and target y is smaller than speed, then it will do whatever is in here. Else it will just set the x to target x and the y to target y. Now after this, what we're going to do is type view x view and then view current equals x. And let's just copy that. And be right back. Okay, back. And after this, we will add SPD equals max. Now, the max function will take any number of values you put into it as arguments and choose the highest one. So put min speed in there and then comma, braces or parentheses. In fact, you can just copy this from up here, distance to point, target X and target Y. And then after that, put divided by 5. So that is what will set the speed for the camera. Now in here, the longest part of this is here. X equals X plus length direction underscore X, or length dir. And in the length, we put SPD. And then the direction, we put point direction X, Y, target X, and target Y. That is essentially it. And now we just copy that. And we change all of these to Y's. Accept all of this, just leave that as it is. Now, what this might look a bit complicated, but essentially what this is doing is it's looking at the target X and target Y variables, which we've already established is basically the corner, essentially, of the segment that we have divided the room or the level up into. And it's saying if the target X changes, then we want to move towards it, but we want to do it smoothly. And that's where this down here comes in. It basically takes the distance to the point of target X, and it basically divides it by 5. And that's the speed. And that's a great way to make it smooth. The problem is, if we didn't add the max min speed here, then it would essentially just keep going and then slow down and creep up because the distance would get lower and lower, and then it would keep dividing it by 5, so it would never really get there, essentially. But we've clamped it here to a minimum speed of 6. If we go back here and see, we have set up here, the minimum speed is 6. Bring it over here. And we see that if the distance to the point of target X and target Y is smaller than speed, then it just is, or is larger than speed. No, wait. It's smaller than speed, yes. It just sets the X to target X and the Y to target Y. So that's a nice way to make it a smooth movement. And I've actually used this in another way with my... Let me see. With my inventory system for the game I was building for the GMC Jam, but that's another story. So we're pretty much ready to test this. All you need to do is go to your room, and again, I don't know why it's opening like that. Go to Objects, grab your player, make sure your player is in the room. Then grab the Camera Division object and just place it somewhere in the room. Then click OK. Let's save it. And let's run it. Wait for it to compile. Okay, it opened over there. Let's grab it over here. And it doesn't work, of course. Oh. Now, this, of course, is a bug. What I think happened is I must have mistyped something here. So let me just check. It's not going to be in there, of course. This always seems to happen, unfortunately. Let's see. Is that all right? Yeah, that's all right. Oh, elements. Down here, make sure these are different. The view X view and view Y view. Sorry about that. Let's start it up again. There we go. Now it works. As you can see, it's kind of easy to get it to go diagonally, but in a game where you divide the segments into rooms, then you probably would keep it from happening in some way, like adding walls. So that's a simple technique for you. I really hope you enjoyed it. Tune in next time